The Tampa Bay Rays beat the Oakland Athletics last night 5-1, and we're going to get into a Major League Baseball preview here as far as now that we have the wild card games out of the way. I will be breaking down how I feel about the postseason. But we're going to focus right now on what Tampa Bay did last night. So Tampa won 5-1, and it was just the most Tampa Bay thing possible. Tampa Bay, since about 07-08 when Joe Madden got there, has been the team that's just a little bit different. They're the team that has your catcher hit leadoff, and they'll put your power hitter at seventh. They'll put guys who run at the third hole. I mean, they got guys who have only hit 10 home runs all year, and they'll hit cleanup. It's amazing. And they were one of the originators of the big defensive shifts. You saw it again last night, where they just don't have a guy on the left side of the infield. They're just like, hey, left-handed hitter, we know he's going to hit right. Forget the left side of the field. They almost pull the outfielders completely away. They almost play like 8 guys on just one side of the field. Tampa is the guy who's smarter than everyone, but can't tell everybody he's smarter than everyone. And really, no one's going to consider him smarter than everyone until it's that time. No one thought Mark Zuckerberg was smarter than everyone when he was trying to talk to his friends across campus. Lo and behold, X amount of billions of dollars later, and you have Facebook. No one thought Jeff Bezos was one of the smartest people on the planet until, lo and behold, a couple $1 billion later, Amazon, which started as just a bookstore online. No one thought he was a genius when he was selling books. No one thought Steve Jobs was a genius when he was being let go by Apple. Pixar, going back to Apple, a couple $1 billion and an iPhone later, all of our iPhones, rest in peace, Steve Jobs is a genius. Now, what do a lot of geniuses have in common? And just a lot of people who do really impressive things, what do they have in common? We've heard since forever, necessity is the mother of invention. And the Tampa Bay Rays are the perfect example of this. Tampa Bay does not have, I've came on here several times and talked about how the Major League Baseball not having a salary cap, how just really unfair it is. But Tampa Bay has the lowest payroll in baseball. Not the lowest payroll of the 8 postseason teams. Not the lowest payroll in their division. They have the lowest payroll in baseball. What do you think about that for a second? So they have less than everybody else and still find a way to do more. Let me say something here. There is Joe Almeida, if I'm saying his name incorrectly, I apologize. If you're not familiar with him, he's the man he's in Los Angeles, and a couple years ago, he broke out the 99-cent store diet. If you've seen diets, most diets are either really expensive, take a lot of time, a lot of energy. There's multiple varying factors that go into diets. Even though dietitians and trainers will tell you cost isn't a thing when it comes to diets. That's because it's not their money. Joe Almeida made the 99-cent store diet in which he was able to effectively shop for himself for under $40 a week. And he shed, in the course of 18 months, 250 pounds. No one would say that he was a genius before he lost 250 pounds. No one was going to say he was smarter, more innovative before he lost the weight, when he was going to the 99-cent store. People probably looked at him crazy, like, what are you doing? You're shopping at the 99-cent store for diet food, for healthy food? What? When the Tampa Bay Rays were the Devil Rays, no one looked at them and said, You see, that's the team that we're all going to start to follow. This whole sabermetrics run started with Tampa Bay. I know Moneyball had an impact, but Moneyball is different than some of the sabermetrics and defensive shifting that we see now, which the majority of that started in that 07-08 team with Joe Madden. Andrew, I always forget the president's name, who's now with the Dodgers. That started with Tampa Bay. And they had to do something like the 99-cent store diet. They only got $50 million for the entirety of their roster. The Yankees are paying more than $80 million to guys who were just on the disabled list. I mean, the Red Sox and Dodgers were over $230 million in payroll. Shout out to the Athletics. I don't want to discredit them. They are also in a situation where they're the 26th or 27th highest payroll in baseball. And they're doing the same thing where they got to get guys to maximize guys on rookie deals. And both teams have had, during their runs of success, the unfortunate side effect of which is we have to trade guys once they get too good. Tampa Bay has the number one prospect in baseball. Again. They had David Price. They acquired through trading pieces of Will Myers, who was a number 3 prospect, I believe, at the time they got him. This team does trades. They pinch their pennies. They're smarter than everybody else. They are the 99-cent store diet. Their sabermetrics and their math team is the Steve Jobs or the Mark Zuckerberg or the Bezos. And now, the reward for being so smart, so efficient, so well managed, just playing so well. And they had an error last night, but that's not reflective of the team. Got all these guys who can do, which is the even more impressive thing is, they get guys to buy in when the guys definitely aren't buying in because they're paid well. We've talked about here on the show before. You can keep guys happy one of two ways. I've said this several times. You can either keep them happy because they get to play the way they want to play, or you can just pay them so much money they shut up and it's a job. They're happy. And Tampa Bay can't just pay people. And they just find a way to get guys that just want to play, and they're like, hey, if you could bat 260, 270, give us 10 to 20 home runs, play maybe second base, third base, and even possibly some outfield, you're perfect. It's a team of utility guys. They think better than everybody else. They plan better than everybody else. They're more efficient than everybody else. And their reward is they get to run into the buzzsaw, which is another $200 million plus payroll in the Houston Astros. Segueing to the Houston Astros. Everything I just said about Tampa Bay was the Astros. The Astros went through this long, extremely long period of time for pretty much the majority of my childhood, from probably 06 to 2012, 2013, where they were just terrible. I mean, they had 3 consecutive 100-loss seasons, maybe 4, correct me if I'm wrong. They were really bad. But they knew what they were doing. We're going to be bad. We're going to get some prospects. We're going to start looking into this math stuff, the sabermetric stuff. Start, maybe trade for a guy here, trade for a guy there. Get some pitchers. And we're going to do it. The Cubs also had this opportunity 5 years ago, and I thought the Cubs were going to blow it out the park, and they were just going to be the best example of what Tampa Bay with money looks like. The Cubs 5 years ago got Joe Madden, Andrew Friedman, there's the president's name. They got Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Addison Russell, Javier Baez, Kyle Schwarber, traded for Hayward. Signed Jason Hayward. I mean, the Cubs are going to be it. They won a World Series in their second year with Joe Madden. It was going to be the team of the decade. And then I don't know what happened. But bring it over to the American League. The Astros trade for Verlander, have Keuchel, Bregman, Correa, Gurriel, Colby Rasmus they traded for, George Springer. And they started to use sabermetrics, and they started to draft well. After losing all those times, multiple top 5 draft picks, they had a system. They believed in it. The system came from Tampa Bay. Difference being, the difference between Houston and Chicago, between them and the difference between them and Tampa, well, they can throw $200 million at their payroll. So when this team's not breaking up anytime soon, they can pay George Springer, they can pay Alex Bregman, they can pay Carlos Correa the $100, $150, $200 million contracts. The Astros are one of the best teams in this 4-year window, because the Astros also won a World Series. We'll just take a 3-year window. Say from their last World Series win in 2015, which I will say here on this show, we predicted as soon as they traded for Justin Verlander, I predicted the Astros to win the World Series. I have a very similar result this year as well. The Astros not only have this young core, similar to what the Cubs did, which is, okay, you know what? We hit on a lot of our position players. Let's go use this extra money and resource, and we'll just go out and get our pitchers, Verlander, Cole, Greinke. I talked about Tampa Bay to start, transitioning into Houston. Houston is Tampa Bay with money, and I think that's the only reason why they're going to win this next series. But I think out of the entirety of the playoffs, mark my words, this is going to be the best series.